is an angry
Looks
baby.
like we're not. Joe Biggs is joining us live tonight. We're talking about gun stuff. Second Amendment rights definitely being challenged this week. Thanks again to all our sponsors. Thanks again to David Horton for the theme music. What's up, everybody? Century Arms is bringing you Gun News Weekly. It's the 9th day of June already. And back in the house, let's start up and say what's up. What's up, Schwell? It's good to see you back, brother.
I'm not back.
Dude, where's the vlog?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. You know, I've recorded quite a bit of content.
Okay, I missed my vlog.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. It's just I can't sit down for too long. Real quick, just give me 30 seconds, 45 seconds. For those of you that are watching the show and wonder, you know, Kevin and Ross, Eric, Casey, Q, everybody on the panel always, you know, they cover for me when I'm not able to do the show. And me not being able to do the show is usually because I'm not feeling good. And it has been identified that the reason why I don't feel good is because there is another growth on my spinal cord. So I am in for another battle, another fight, more surgeries, more rehab, and that's what I'm dealing with. So like tonight, I will be popping off periodically so that I can stand up because I can't sit for too long with the way things feel right now. So just to give you all an update on what's going on with Schwell and why Schwell is MIA so often. I think I've missed the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it is because of my health. When I go to the doctor and they stick those probes in my body and do all of that stuff, I think they're doctors. They may be aliens, but I'm usually spent when I get home, and I just can't manage to sit and actually go through a show. So I appreciate you guys, all of the well wishes and all the support I've been getting. Thank you very much, and I'm here tonight.
Sir, yes, sir. Well, it's good to have you back. You're always welcome anytime. You know that. You're fam as it is. Eric, thanks for jumping in tonight.
Thanks for having me. Sorry about missed it last week.
You had stuff going on. Like, again, that's the thing about this group. We're normal dudes. We got shit that happens. Ross, what's up, bro?
Same old, man. Glad to be here on a Thursday night. Can't believe it's already June.
And already another Thursday. And rounding out, dude, that beard is looking nice and full these days, Joe. I didn't see that. That's nice, brother. Joe Biggs checking in from Austin.
Yes, sir.
Running around like crazy doing the InfoWars report and getting all kinds of interesting perspectives from all kinds of characters. I didn't say anything in the pre-show because I wanted to wait to talk to you about it. But we're going to get into some stories that reflect what's going on in America today. Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in on a Thursday night. We appreciate it. Thanks for the people checking us out on Facebook. If you want to interact, Gun Channels and over on the Gun News Weekly YouTube channel. Before we get into that story with Schwell, I did want to take a serious note. This show is dedicated to Kimbo Slice. God rest his soul. Make fun of him as you might. However, what I do know is that everybody that knows the guy speaks of him as a very good father, and I respect that. And yeah, came to fame on YouTube, fighting people in the backyard. Was really not up to par with a lot of the MMA guys that he got into the ring with in the real professional world, but he took it for what it was. And again, he's no longer with us. All right. So Schwell, real quick, this is the big story of the day. The Ninth Circuit rules that the Second Amendment doesn't protect your right to carry a concealed firearm in public. Take it away.
All right, guys, this story I'm going to cover from the Los Angeles Times today. I figured I would go straight to California and get as much information as I possibly could. And this story's been developing, and we've been getting, you know, information throughout the day. When it hit, this was breaking news, especially for those of us that support the Second Amendment. A federal appeals court ruling that gave gun control advocates a major victory Thursday underscored California's rising importance as a center of legal and political battles over guns. Now, there's more to that. The U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decided in a 7-4 ruling that California counties may restrict permits for carrying concealed firearms in public. That decision overturned a 2014 ruling that prompted some California counties to relax their rules. And
So this sounds like Maryland to me. You got to have a reason now. You got to
right,
have it.
Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, a lot of those anti-states. This ruling came in a time when lawmakers in Sacramento have been considering a flurry of gun bills, and as California voters prepare to consider a likely November ballot measure on gun control. Remember, California has been in the news over the last 2 or 3 weeks quite consistently with all of these new laws that they've proposed and have been signed and have been passing these different stages and getting approved. The gun owners that brought on the case originally, they're said that they might appeal Thursday's decision in the U.S. Supreme Court. An uncertain prospect given there is no need for the High Court to resolve differences among the federal appeals court circuits.
So how does this? We're not lawyers. We play one on the internet on a Thursday night every once in a while, but we're not lawyers. How does this affect the rest of the states that are out there? This happens in California.
Well, because this is a federal appeals, it's a federal appeals court. So what that means is this ruling, one, it means that this doesn't have to go to the Supreme Court, right? It doesn't have to go to the next level. But at this level, this means that all of those states, and let's throw the District of Columbia in there, that have recently said shall issue, the Constitution means that you shall issue those concealed carry permits, as opposed to putting me in a position where I have to prove a legitimate reason for needing one. And that's the key. You can still get a CCW in California in these counties, but these counties are now able to put different rules in place for requirements. So the sheriffs can approve them based on the fact that you're a jewelry store owner, you're a doctor, or you're a pharmacist, or things like that. But you have to prove a need for that CCW in order for that sheriff to approve it. The biggest issue is they're allowing each individual county to determine what those rules are. So it's not setting a standard at all.
Well, and by law, isn't it the sheriffs who issue those permits? It's each county's sheriff that issue a concealed carry permit. So effectively, they can't really do much about it. The state can't do much about it if the county happens to be more liberal in that regard.
It's like that in Massachusetts. So in Massachusetts, depending what town you live in, when you fill out your LTC form, some towns require you to interview with the head of the police or your sheriff. In my town, I didn't have to do that. I just had to submit my form. Some require you to go through getting an FID card first and then go get your LTC. So it's very similar. And then on the paperwork, it says very clearly, just saying you need a firearm for protection is not the only reason to get a license to carry or to get a CCW.
We have the Second Amendment in place. It's very clear. It's been debated and debated. Now all of a sudden, a California federal circuit group of judges say that this is the way it is, and that's what we have to deal with.
I feel the need to actually bring up a pretty solid point here, and I just want to preface this with a slight apology, because in the pre-chat we were heavily discussing the whole political atmosphere, and judges are supposed to be impartial. They're supposed to take the law as the law. They're not supposed to enter or subject their bias to these rulings. Now, the Second Amendment is quite clear. It's what the country was founded on. What part of shall not be infringed are they missing? What bias led them to this? And that is the really important part of being careful what judge we get in the Supreme Court, or what judge is overseeing this case or that case, because their bias plays everything into their role in that case.
Well, Ross, to address that just briefly, I don't want to go too deep into that. In order for that to happen, you have to eliminate the human factor. The human needs to be removed from that process if that is how it needs to go. There are always going to be bias or based on the perception or the not perception but interpretation of that human. Now, each individual does not interpret the law exactly the same. They look at, there are certain things, and because there are holes and things like this are based on a constitution that was written so long ago, the human factor is going to play a huge part and have a huge impact on how they rule on these things. But what you're saying, you're making a ton of sense. I am 100% with you. I just wanted to answer your question. And Kevin, I think Kevin, you said something in regard to that. You had an answer to that earlier.
Yeah, but I've been distracted by the Facebook people for the last minute while you were talking, so I don't know what you're talking about. So.
Well, you know,
I mean, there's currently like 7 laws trying to be passed in California. I've been in California for the last few weeks, and you know, they're trying to ban, you know, assault rifles with detachable magazines. You know, Hillary Clinton spoke the other day, and I was at one of her events, which made me sick at my stomach. That's another issue. She brought Gavin Newsom up there, who is one of the main guys behind all this insanity in California. And, you know, you go out on the streets and you talk to people, and there are more larger liberal pockets throughout the coast in California than there are conservative. Like, the only ones that are really conservative in California would be like Huntington Beach, Dana Point, some of Venice, but that's about it. Outside of that, when you go to these events and you talk to people, they're all like, yeah, take all the guns. We love Hillary Clinton. Sweep them all away. There should be no guns at all. No one should have them, and that's the mindset there, and that's why that stuff's going to happen.
Wow.
I mean, also for some background too, this has been going on since 2009. So when Schwell said they're not sure if they're going to appeal, there's a financial aspect to it too. Pulling up the documents too, there's a lot of people that have signed on to the brief when it was filed. So these 2 plaintiffs may not be there, but there may be somebody else. And reading in some of the ruling, they almost said, because the Constitution, the Second Amendment didn't specifically state carry for protection, like almost like they're looking for specific verbiage because it's not there. They're saying it doesn't mean that. Now, does that mean I agree with that? No, but that's their interpretation. So they're taking a very strict approach. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the Ninth District Court is also one of the most overturned courts on the federal judiciary. So if it does go to appeal, the percentages are higher than not that this ruling will be overturned.
Wow. Well, we've got a lot more to cover. Everybody, leave your comments in the section below, whatever platform you're watching us on. Facebook, this phone's going to jump out, so if it cuts off, please jump back over and finish watching the show somewhere else. The bottom line, I guess, is if the people that live there, as Joe's evidence shows us today, and the politicians that live there want it that way, what are people that are not like-minded going to do to influence them and change them? Is it possible?
They're going to move.
Quickly, Ross.
They're going to move. They're going to move.
Wow.
And
Exactly.
California's going to turn into Detroit, which turned into Chicago. You know what I mean? It's all going to go downhill. And it's a slow, steady degradation of the country through this epic rule.
Well,
I'll take those California conservatives any day. They can come here to Texas. We got enough room. I just don't want the liberal ones that are in Hollywood. They need to stay home.
Oh, but Joe, they'll move because the conditions get so bad. You know, they're going to come out here because taxes are going to be so high. That's what happened in New York.
All right, let's move on quick. The other thing that happened earlier this week, right after the show last week, actually, is Obama was on this PBS NewsHour thing, and he made a big splash with the, you know, I'm not looking to disarm you rhetoric. So let's play a little bit and watch a little bit and see what we think of this.
Last night on the NewsHour, President Obama,
Here we go.
shop owner Doug Rudy challenged the president's record on gun control.
Knowing that we apply common sense to other issues in our society, specifically like holding irresponsible people accountable for their actions when they drink and drive and kill somebody, and we do that without restricting control of cars and cell phones to the rest of us, the good guys, why then do you and Hillary want to control and restrict and limit gun manufacturers, gun owners, and the responsible use of guns and ammunition to the rest of us, the good guys, instead of holding the bad guys accountable for their actions?
First of all, the notion that I or Hillary or Democrats or whoever you want to choose are hell-bent on taking away folks' guns is just not true. And I don't care how many times the NRA says it. I'm about to leave office. There have been more guns sold since I've been president than just about any time in U.S. history. There are enough guns for every man, woman, and child in this country. And at no point have I ever proposed confiscating guns from responsible gun owners. So it's just not true. What I have said is precisely what you suggested, which is, why don't we treat this like every other thing that we use? I just came from a meeting today in the Situation Room in which I've got people who we know have been on ISIL websites, living here in the United States, U.S. citizens, and we're allowed to put them on the no-fly list when it comes to airlines. But because of the National Rifle Association, I cannot prohibit those people from buying a gun. This is somebody who is a known ISIL sympathizer, and if he wants to walk in to a gun store or a gun show right now and buy as many weapons as ammo as he can, nothing's prohibiting him from doing that, even though the FBI knows who that person is.
So let's stop it there and
They don't have people watching that guy?
You know, I was going to say right away, you know, isn't that something that there should, if he's on a watch, again, the watch list, has the TSA done anything with their watch lists?
Isn't that why we pay the FBI billions of dollars a year, is to watch these guys, know who they are, and keep an eye on them?
83% of all things that aren't supposed to get through TSA get through TSA. They're a complete and total joke at the end of the day. They are a waste of our money. They're a waste of everything. All they do is they pat you down, they grope you, and treat you and dehumanize you. It's a waste.
They're actually looking to privatize.
They just changed the guy in charge because of how bad it was. They went through a lot of international airports, even like Orlando here, and they failed. They were able to get, I think it was 60 or 70% of the illegal products that they tried to get through the system.
It was higher than that. It was in the 90s.
I still wish I had kept that video I made that time where I didn't want to put it up because I didn't want to get flagged further by them, where my family got through with not only tubing and a mechanical device with a timer on it, but canned liquid. Again, it's amazing what they.
I got detained for a box of stickers and business cards.
Well,
the business card. Hey, I got stopped for the business cards too before because it looks too dense in the scanner. Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing large airports like New York, Orlando looking to go about privatizing because the TSA is not functioning. You have hour-long waits in most cases. You know, so these large airports, like, we can't have this. This doesn't work for us from a business standpoint.
Well, I also thought it was funny that the way he said it, it was almost like he's proud. I've sold more guns than anybody in history. Like, all of a sudden.
That brings me to another point. I honestly believe that you know how there's corporations have silent partners. You know, that they invest in stuff, but they sit back, they don't say anything. I guarantee at the end of the day, the Democrats are the silent partners in some way or form in the gun industry, because they know as soon as they come out and say, oh, we're going to do this and that, what happens? Gun sales spike. Everything goes up. Everyone runs to the gun store and buys ammo and guns. There's something shady going on, I'll tell you that. I don't quite get it all.
All right, here's another one. So the next thing I wanted to say is, he's saying we don't want your guns. It's not going to happen. We're not after it. And then, you turn around and literally, very soon, DNC Platform Committee member Bonnie Schaefer was on C-SPAN where she said the following very clearly.
I do believe that you're absolutely correct. Not just keeping the guns out of the hands of mentally ill people and criminals, but I really don't personally think anyone should have a gun. I mean, that's just my own, philosophy. Nothing is ever solved, when you have a gun in your hand, except the worst possible scenario.
And the ability to defend yourself against the worst possible scenario, I would argue. Anybody got anything on that one before we move on? There's a few more stories from states and legal related. One is South Carolina added by the Attorney General Olens to the list of states entitled to Georgia's firearm permit reciprocity, which makes sense since aren't they next to each other? South Carolina, Georgia, yeah.
They're close.
Yeah, they're close. And that came out on the 6th. So there you go. South Carolina and Georgia, way to go. Florida Supreme Court asked to allow open carry of guns. We've covered this before. What's different? It's deliberating. The High Court on Wednesday heard a case that challenges the constitutionality of the state's current ban on open carry. A guy named Dale Norman, who has a permit to carry a concealed weapon, was arrested by Fort Pierce police in 2012 because his gun was visible as he walked down a sidewalk. He was convicted of a second-degree misdemeanor but appealed the conviction. So they haven't been able to be carried again in Florida. The only place you can do it is if you're fishing. For some reason, you can carry a gun if you're fishing. We'll look at one of the possible reasons that might make sense later in the show with the non-gun related story of the week. But basically, justices sounded skeptical about overturning the law, although they also questioned whether attorneys working for Florida Attorney General Pam Biondi had provided enough reasons to keep the law intact. Casey, did they win?
They lost, man.
They're still winners.
Nah, no participation trophies.
Good.
Good season, though. Good season.
Good, man. Good to have you jumping in. Thanks for jumping in. Casey had a fatherly thing to do tonight with the baseball thing. So Florida, again, they're talking about it still. But you jumped in right on time. One of my favorite stories, just because of the absurdity of it, was a few years back when our boy Plaxico got busted with his gun in his sweatpants. Well, as no one's been killed, we can joke about this. Police are investigating an incident where Taquil, what is it? How do you say his first name?
Taqib Talib.
Aqib Talib. He said, quote, "Everything was a blur and I was too intoxicated to remember what happened. But something happened when his personal gun shot himself in the leg." And he is he's a professional cornerback for the Denver Broncos, I believe.
Yeah.
So Texas is far more lenient than New York. So don't forget, Plaxico had to do time because of that shit.
Do you think he'll get cut by Denver?
No, but he was unable to attend the team's White House visit on Monday and is expected to miss the remainder of organized team activities and minicamp. Recovery time is 6 to 8 weeks. He might miss the start of the training camp, but should be able to play in their first preseason game in August.
Did they say what it was? Was it a Kel-Tec again? Was it?
Don't have any details on the gun, on the type of gun. But the bottom line is this guy was, let's not now bring it back to what we should. He's intoxicated and he has a gun on him to the point that he doesn't even remember shooting himself.
Not
Let's
good.
even ask, did he have a holster? Like, remember the story a couple weeks ago about the guy that stored the gun in his sock at a graduation?
Again, he accidentally shot himself in the right leg while hanging out at a park with friends. That's all we really have. Yeah.
That always happens. That's like a normal thing. You're just hanging out and.
You just can't fix stupid. There just is that you just can't fix stupid.
You can't.
They're investigating the incident not only to figure out how he was shot, but to find out whether he was shot at a Dallas nightclub where 2 others were shot or at a park. But he confided in his friends that he shot himself, but barely remembers how it went down. All right, there you go. We'll move on. Now the protection stories of the week. Mom, what do we got here? Oh, God, this one. Did you see this attempted kidnapping that they caught on tape? It's unbelievable. Joe's shaking his head. The rest of you guys are not. Watch this. We didn't talk about this week. This guy was about as brazen as anybody has ever been. Oh, hold on. We got to watch a commercial first.
That's the scariest thing I've ever seen, too. I mean, this guy was just like ripping the squirrel.
We are farmers.
Yeah, free ad for farmers. Send Ross the check. All right, here we go. Tampa Bay. So, guys hanging out. A little stretch. Now he walks up to a woman that's got a kid with him, with her.
Kid was 13, I think.
Yep, and starts to take the child, literally down that whole hallway. Now he's trying to run out the front door with the kid. The mom is basically laying on the child now.
So what about the people that I'm seeing behind there? I didn't see anyone try to intervene, which is kind of scary.
Store manager was familiar. I didn't read anything about the story. I just
Dude, I'm just going to point out the obvious. If you're in a store and somebody pulls a stretchy maneuver in the middle of the store, run like hell, dude. Something's up.
Ross. Yeah, it doesn't really have too much. They were just amazed by the brazenness of the attack.
The guy's dragging a very large child, like yanking. I mean, I'm surprised this kid didn't have his shoulder dislocated from the whole thing. I mean, that's completely and totally nuts. Thank God there was an off-duty cop outside that got him.
And that's how it was. That is how it played out. Let's see what else happened this week. I think there was another one. Yeah, the teen with AK-47 defends home against an armed intruder. The kid had plans and had conversations with the family. This kind of goes back to our Rob Pincus conversation last week and the week before after NRA, and the of having a plan and your children and how they fit into those plans. If I read this one earlier, this was Mississippi on the 1st of June, 3 p.m. The minor is at home alone. He called his dad to report a possible home invasion. He heard of several people in the house. The neighbor, Rick Waltz, said, Daddy armed him in case he was ever by himself. Daddy was at work when he got a call that said, quote, sounds like in the house somebody is in the house, more than one. Like any parent would do, he said, quote, get your gun and protect yourself if you have to, unquote. Somewhere along that line, they met up, and one will not be going home tonight. One shot went through the hand up into his arm and apparently damaged enough organs that it took out one of the guys. It was an AK-47. It goes on to talk about the merits of the AK-47. It was two 18-year-old kids doing a B&E.
Don't break into people's houses. You don't get shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna set back my my settings a little bit because we're getting a pretty decent rainstorm out here in South Florida right now. So I'm gonna hope that we keep the good connection. If I drop, keep it rolling. Just talking about whatever. Man fatally shot while breaking into a car outside of an Anaheim home. Incident 5 a.m. in the morning, northeast side of the city. Guys breaking into a car, and he had taken basically everything. The homeowner called authorities. They found the man that had been shot after a single fire shot the man in the chest, and he ran. They found the guy. They identified him as a 40-year-old Ryan Miller of Long Beach. He had broken in and stolen just about everything, and this guy just decided to go out and shoot him.
Out of the guy's car?
Yeah, he was taking everything from the car, which is, again.
So property. So that brings up an interesting question. It's an interesting story because we've been taught, both of us, that you don't shoot over property, you shoot over life and death. So how does everybody feel about that?
Someone's breaking into your car and you can just get them to get the heck out of there. I think that's probably the best option.
If I can use that, yeah, I mean, I can always replace property. It sucks, but
I've got insurance for property.
Yeah, exactly. There's got to be it's got to go to another level.
Morons.
Sorry, guys.
We just couldn't say no to that.
And did they shoot and kill the guy? Or just shot him, obviously.
One was shot, but he did die.
It's a very interesting conundrum. I mean, your first response is to pull up on them, and, get the hell out of my car. But ethically, it doesn't seem. That seems.
So, just random thought. I wonder if, because it's going to be investigated, this guy is going to have an investigation happen around him. If there's, based on those state laws, I don't know. Is there anything that this guy could be found?
I can't tell. It says that there was a big problem there, though. The lady next door said that she at least 7 times had property stolen from her yard and/or car. So it was a known problem.
Yeah, that doesn't make it okay in the whole scheme of things.
Eric, you're in that Boston area, aren't you?
Yeah.
Covered a story a couple weeks back about the gangbangers getting rounded up. Here's another one. Do you know about this one?
It's like the 60 guns or something like that.
60 gang members and 40 guns, 40 people, 75 firearms.
Gangbangers like their guns.
Yeah, in mass. Firearm and drug charges, large weapons and drug bust. USDA Carmen Ortiz announced Thursday. They conducted a search in the East Boston buildings, and this was a 14-month investigation looking after the 18th Street Gang. Officials then zeroed in on 4 other criminal street gangs: East Street Money, which I've been talking about, Orion Heights, and Boylston Street Gang. So there you go. They took 66 people from Boston, Brockton, Chelsea, and surrounding areas. It was 400 local, state, federal law enforcement members involved in the sweep.
So those neighborhoods you just rattled off are some pretty tough neighborhoods around in Boston. So it doesn't surprise me. That's where they're from.
There you go. That's a big bust. Here's an interesting story. This one's interesting because we've all had talked about the different kinds of ammo. And you guys remember when the RIP ammo came out? And we were looking at the gel blocks and all the testing and all that stuff. Well, now, according to Controversial Times, quote, rare bullets may provide clue to teenage girls' brutal murder. Schwell, I'll repeat for you. The rare bullets may provide clues to teenage girls' brutal murder. A 19-year-old Atlanta girl was murdered this weekend. Her body was found naked, surrounded by dogs, and with numerous gunshot wounds to various parts of her body. Police say that one of the biggest clues are the rare bullets used in the heinous crime. Quote, police located her 2009 Ford Fusion that was taken on Saturday on wherever. The vehicle was found beneath a restaurant in Stone Mountain Wednesday morning. In addition, authorities said they're looking for where she lived. The rounds appear to be RIP ammunition, the G2R RIP ammunition, according to a video report from Fox 21 News. The ammo made quite a splash in the past couple years because of its aggressive look, novel design. They're readily available for many locations, but not nearly as ready as bigger ammunition brands such as Winchester Spear Federal. So police might be able to track down where the ammo was purchased and then narrow down their potential suspects. Are we noticed anything here? Anybody?
Tracking ammo?
Tracking ammo, basically saying, you know what, we need to track ammo for things like this, and now all of a sudden we have to fill out something when we buy ammo. Remember, there was a thing about background checks for every ammo purchase in California has been proposed.
Just think about what a nightmare that would be.
The problem is, what's the registration look like? Are we now going to require the ammunition companies to serialize the casings, to serialize the bullet?
Microstamping, you know.
This was a pretty girl, and she got tore up, man. They shot her a lot. They also say she was likely trying to run from her attackers when she took many of the rounds. A lot of stuff in the back of the legs. But she was definitely shot up. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see if they're able to connect all those dots, I guess.
So you remember when Taser started putting those microstamps in their cartridges, Kevin?
Yeah.
Back in the day when we were selling that stuff, and it can be done for weapons, for ammunition. You just got to find a media that's resistant to the extreme temperatures, really. But those little tags, man, I guarantee you someone's going to go after that someday.
Good call. It's half past the hour. Let's do what we do. Shout out the sponsors and friends real quick. Thanks again to Century Arms, Hilux. Thanks to our friends at Green Force Tactical, Keybar, Grizzly Targets, Lanzang, all the people who help us with our giveaways. We'll have an update and an announcement coming out soon about what's going on with the guys at Lanzang. Sorry to the people on Facebook. I messed up the view again. What else? Make sure you stay tuned because we're going to talk about some pretty interesting, controversial stuff. We're going to tell you about our new Brody Box idea and ask for your help to all the companies and people associated with the little companies that need a shout-out here and there on Gun News Weekly. We think we've come up with a pretty cool way to help some cool people get stuff and us help you. Make sure you go over to Controversial Times and check out the story. The video is too long to show on the show. It's a 7-minute video, but the woman who shot her attacker talks about her experience, and she shut down the anti-gunners pretty hard in the video. I had a personal experience today where a family member of mine, a somewhat distant second cousin, I guess you could say, posted something about how she got verbally assaulted for what she was wearing on the streets of Manhattan, and how that truly offended her and made her feel vulnerable and this, that, and we kind of went back and forth, and of course it kind of went down the gun route, and she said, I don't really think this is a place to argue about guns. I said, well, again, agreed. I said, you know, I feel like everyone should be able to have a weapon, is how I started the conversation. I didn't say guns. But it went down that road with some of the people who responded, and I just thought about all the empowered women that I know that would never feel shitty the way that this girl is feeling today. And I think a part of that is that learning to use a gun or a chosen weapon, and knowing that if it was 10 at night, not 10 in the morning, and something got escalated, you could take care of yourself. And I think we all know lots of female shooters out there who have empowered themselves and who are, I guess, I felt really bad for hearing her say, God, you know, men, you know, and a bunch of men chiming in and be like, yeah, a bunch of them are pigs, and then you saw that shit happen in the trail. But again, back to the main point, it just sucked watching someone say that they felt vulnerable. Listening to this woman's story on Controversial Times, I think you'll get a good feel for it. The hero cop who shot the kidnapper point blank in Walmart was awarded the Medal of Valor. And this was the guy who held, hold on, his name is Huff. Oklahoma detective who shot and killed a kidnapper in a Walmart 3 years ago has been reunited with the girl whose life he saved, and he was given the Medal of Honor at a ceremony at the White House with President Obama. Side note. The Philippines is going through some issues, guys. The president of Philippines has encouraged their vigilante killings, encourages vigilante killings and puts bounties on drug dealers. Quote, do it yourself if you have the gun, unquote. Anything?
Yeah, this I think he's the president-elect. They call him the South American Trump.
Casey later.
Is he which country is this?
Philippines.
Is this the one where they make their own guns in every house?
There's a very large black market for firearms. They've learned over the years how to basically make them themselves.
Okay.
There's I think a Vice video.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
Vice did a video of that.
That's the one that was covered on Vice. This is a very dangerous precedent to start, but I've seen conversations with some of my friends on my timeline talking amongst family members in a thread where they're saying, visit now before the Civil War starts, because they believe that that's what's next, that there's going to be civil unrest, or that he's going to create such an environment that...
Listen to what he said. Listen to what he said. Ready? Shoot him, the drug dealer, and I'll give you a medal. If medals don't do it for you, he's also offered bounties. He's previously stated that the government would pay 3 million Philippine pesos, which is $65,000, for drug lords. That must have not been enough, because he's upped the offer to $108,000 US. Quote, you're going to love this, I'm not saying that you kill them, he told his adoring fans, but the order is dead or alive. dead or alive. And he wasn't stopping there. Quote, to all police who have cases and are wanted now, if you are still involved in drugs, I will kill you. Don't take this as a joke. I'm not making you laugh. Son of a bitch, I will kill you. This is the dude that's in charge of the Philippines.
Place is going down. It's gonna go burn in the ground.
Woo!
Who just said it sounds like Trump?
I did. They call him. They nicknamed him, I think, like the South American Trump, because he said some pretty other outrageous stuff during his campaign.
All right, where are we? Joe's gone. Casey's gone.
I'm still here. I just don't have any video. My network's blowing cheese.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on. We still have some things to talk about. Let's talk about we're more than halfway there on our slide giveaway for L2D Combat. Eric, I think yours is the best Instagram for people to go check out. You want to give the address real quick, because you have a lot of posts where all the rules are.
Sure. So you can go on to TGL Eric, which is on Instagram, and we've got a couple pictures from L2D. It's their beautiful layout of all their Gen 1 or version 1 slides that Kevin's beautifully showing up on the screen here. I'm partial to the one he's got in his hands right now. And once they get to 500 likes on their feed, Kevin, the Tac Daddy's got to get to what, 2,000?
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there quickly, but they need about another 100 likes. So it's L2D Combat is what you need to search on Instagram for their stuff. But you have the rules of you just got to go like 5 channels, and somebody, it's gonna be like a 1 in 400 chance or 1 in 500 chance is gonna get that, but they don't realize there's way more, because those first 500 people that join the L2D family are gonna be in for it. I mean, talk about some of the barrels and stuff. Swell, don't think I forgot you, by the way.
And again, this is all on Instagram, so if you haven't joined, join up on Instagram.
We'll talk about it a little bit more later when we get the guys from L2D on the show, but you're talking about basically the most popular one right now in this aftermarket stuff is Zeb Technologies. When you look at what these are, the quality, and then you start to L2D _ combat. Thank you very much. When you start to look at the quality and the price and what it is, whether you're looking for a slide or barrel or, again, fluted pins, that kind of stuff, there's all kinds of stuff there. All right, let's stay on. And again, shout out to who else do we need to? There was one other thing I needed to say before we get into that. We'll do that later. A couple more stories and a couple more things about gear and stuff. IWI replacing the pistols recalled over the Fed restrictions. The Galil is back. It's correct. It doesn't have 3 holes or whatever the heck the problem was, if we remember correctly. But the Galil Ace pistols are on their way to the owners affected by last year's recall. That's good news.
Yeah, you knew IWI would take care of their people, though.
Yes, sir. The Night Dragon. There's a new tracking point rifle. Promises domination over nighttime targets. Chambered in 7.62, the Night Dragon incorporates night vision, target tracking, and image stabilization. It can tackle targets up to 500 yards as well as track them up to 15 miles an hour. It's all-purpose, built for predator domination, hog eradication, and homestead defense, said John McHale.
I'm sure it's only like 10 to 15 grand.
See how he does that, Schwell? The first 50 purchases will get the total package for $12,995. Then they go up to $15,490.
Shoo, that's a steal.
And this is why Track and Point almost went out of business before.
Nasty. Well, you only got to sell like 2 a quarter.
Did you get like 3 Barretts for that?
You can find 2 dudes somewhere. Gun TV adds more programming, slots, Roku access, etc., etc. Our friend Billy Birdsell's in there, so we're going to let you know about this. But go check it out over on guns.com. Again, just another outlet that's getting out there, letting people that know about different guns and how to buy them and that kind of stuff. I wanted to talk about ammo, but I wanted to tie it into the other thing we were talking about earlier offline, Schwell, which is, let's see, lower parts kits and kind of a philosophy that you kind of said you might have. Remember we were talking about this?
Yeah, philosophy. I wouldn't use the word philosophy. Conspiracy, yes.
Okay.
I'll say it. You know what? Conspiracy. I think most of us that are watching this show, that are participating in this show, we remember Sandy Hook. We remember the impact that incident had on firearms in the industry. Magazines, accessories, firearms themselves. The .22 caliber ammunition was slow to recover, and there was no real explanation or no real logical reason for it. Right now, what we're dealing with is lower parts kits, the enhanced kits, whatever, kits that were normally and readily available to us. Those of us that build our own guns, those of us that want to upgrade our stuff. Magically, those things have become quite hard to find. Your favorite manufacturers are having a hard time getting enough lower parts kits to finish the builds that have been ordered. You are having a hard time finding them at your favorite retailer. And I suspect that the people that are manufacturing these, and again, this is a conspiracy, I can't prove it, I think that they've either slowed down production or they're still producing it and they're sitting on them until we get closer and closer to this election. Once Hillary is actually, crowned or whatever they say, you're going to run for the president. Here you are, you get the ticket. Or they may even wait till November. Magically, we will see these lower parts kits magically show up again, and they will be at your favorite retailers again. They will be at the manufacturers again, but at a premium. We will see what I like to call the cheaper than dirt effect. These lower parts kits that we were getting for $50 and $60 are now going to be $80 to $100, and that is what I suspect. I'm not trying to cause a frenzy or try to go out there, but let's think about supply and demand. Let's think about how this system works, and let's think about what they really think of us. They don't give a damn about us. As long as we're buying the parts, they don't care. Lower parts kits, if you really think about what those things cost for them to make, they're probably at a 500% markup. So
it's springs and metal and springs and
right, exactly. So some of the springs look like the springs out of a fucking big pen. So
they're making money hand over fist on each of those kits, enhanced, not enhanced, and I'll bet you there's one or two factories that pump out all these parts and just change the label the bags go into. They can't stop selling firearms. They just stop selling parts, so you can't build them.
Interesting, right? There's another backdoor type of thing that they're not coming to take your guns. No, they're not. They're not.
Let me be clear, folks. What I am saying as far as this conspiracy theory, again, this is just something that I came up with on my own. I am not saying it's the retailers. I'm not saying it's your favorite manufacturer. I am saying it's the people way back. We're talking about the people who manufacture these things. It could be the people that make the receivers for all of your favorite companies. But whoever makes these lower parts kits, and majority of them do come from the same places. That's what's causing this. That is where this is coming from. This is not the retailers. This is not the manufacturers. So just to let you know. And I know, Kevin, you're a retailer. EverydayCarryLife.com or the TacDaddy.com. You're a retailer. Are you feeling it? What are you experiencing?
Yeah, this is kind of where this all started. I've got people that have patiently, and God bless them, they're waiting on a build or don't really have a rush. They're looking for specific brand lower parts kits that have been out of stock since February and March, April, May. Now we're 4 months later where they've given me their money. It's sitting, in an account, and they're waiting on a promise. I can't get answers. I can't get fulfillment. Very difficult. So I've got still right now about 10 people who are waiting on lower parts kits total, and about one a month is calling and saying, hey, I can't wait anymore. I'm going to go get a cheaper version of it at a local store or someplace where they were able to track one down. But again, someone that's looking for a specific brand because they really like that brand's lowers and logo and background and marketing person or whatever it may be, they're gonna wait, and no one has them. It's not like they're there anywhere. So we're waiting on certain things, and yeah, there has been some heat there. Mags, Go get them while you can. They're everywhere. The big thing was PMags. You couldn't find them. You were going into stores. People had them for $39. I remember it very clearly.
I'm going to throw it out there. Mags, ammunition, any spare parts you can get, make your spare parts kits. The consumables, those are the things that will have, shall we say, artificially have their own demands created for them based on scarcity. If you can, buy stuff now.
Yep. All right, let's take a look at this one, our off-topic story of the week, so to speak. It's a great picture, so I'll share it with you in case you missed it. But they found this big old gator, and there's something odd about what he had in his mouth. So they're still trying to determine.
That's my watch.
What's that?
I said that's my watch.
It's my watch. He's got some tranquilizer darts in there, you can see, but that's a big old dinosaur that's got a person in his belly, and they're going to try to figure out whether it was a dead person, where did he find that dead person, or was it he took someone live? They don't know yet.
I heard they found the body. The body was floating. They got this guy away from.
There you go. Dead bodies recovered. All I have to do is read.
Man, look at that though. That looks like out of a movie, doesn't it?
It really does. That's scary. That's scary. Speaking of good movies, go over to Kevin the Tech Daddy channel and check out this one. This is a good one. This is one that we made, The History of the Tavor. It kind of gives you a preview of some of the stuff that you might see, but this isn't going to be content that you're also going to see on Inspire. It was during a recent episode of Inspire. We got a pretty cool take on the Tavor and a little history of someone who was the first person to walk with it. No big deal. No big deal. Next story is Everytown says 2016 will be the year of the gun safety. All right. They're ready, and they're kind of creative, because check this one out. This is one of their offshoot campaigns that I came across. You can see their logos down there on the bottom. Be smart. Hey, moms, be smart. Every mom wants to be smart, so of course she'll figure and join the campaign to reduce gun deaths. Who doesn't want to reduce child gun deaths? So if you join here, you get emails and learn more about how to get involved with someone who's going to, it's created to bring together all responsible adults to reduce the number of unintended shootings that will occur when children get a hold of unsecured firearms. Think about this for a second.
I would like that statistic, to be honest with you. I would really like to know how many children die because of unconstrained
Well, wouldn't it make
handguns or guns in the house.
How do you reduce the number of unintentional shootings that occur with children get a hold of unsecured firearms in general? I mean, how you hold the parents responsible for making sure that the guns are secured, correct?
That you teach the kids about the guns. How about that?
There you go, too. But I don't think that's what they're going to do, Schwell.
I think our first story was all about actually, I think it was the second story. It was all about an adolescent or a teenager who had to use the gun to protect his life. Obviously, he knew what was going on. He was well trained. Kids that aren't that mature, they probably need to lock those guns up.
This is kind of, again, they're using today's technology, and I'm just pointing it out because they're not dummies when it comes to doing this. Look at this. This next thing they have here is something called not an accident index. At least 106 oh, sorry, I'm not sharing that one. At least 106 child shootings in 2016. More than 2 million American children live in homes with guns that are not stored safely and securely. Think about that stat for a second. Where'd that come from? 2 million American children live in homes with guns that are not stored safely and securely.
Guys, these guys are notorious for providing inaccurate information, taking otherwise faulty information and adding it to these maps that they do. Everybody needs to be careful about that.
This is an article where an application where you're able to click on anything, and here you go, and tells you where the kid was shot, how he was shot, and what happened. So a kid had a stolen firearm in that case, and he accidentally shot a friend. I mean, you could go on and on about this stuff, but this is what's out there, and this is what people are finding when they search gun safety and those types of things.
And what's their goal? Their goal is to take it all away, right?
But I think this is going after the person that's on the fence. If you're anti-gun, you already know about this. If you're pro-gun, you know that these numbers they're not legit. So they're going for the people in the middle. They're going for the people that are doing the Google searching. They're going for those people, and now you have a fun, quote-unquote, fun interactive map. They click on it, they read about it, they get horrified, and formulates an opinion.
It's horrible. It's misinformation.
They're marketing. It's marketing.
Hey, thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight. We do appreciate it. Before we do just a little bit of gear stuff to wrap up the show. We appreciate everybody watching. Please continue to push this out on your individual Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Let people know you watch Gun News Weekly on a regular basis. We do appreciate it. When I tell you this is going to be a big year for us, it is. We appreciate all the people that have been with us since we started this thing back in the day. And, again, no big announcements. Inspire's coming. We promise. We're patiently just making it sure that it's awesome, not just pretty darn good. So hang in. It is definitely coming, and the Gun News Weekly team, staff, group of guys, you're going to see us doing a lot more really cool, fun stuff. And again, we appreciate the support along the way. Let's talk about, again, real quick, last group of quick shout-outs. Green Force Tactical, if you need a Kydex holster, that's the place to go. Keybar. Guys, any Keybar stories? Shwa, you using a Keybar yet on a regular basis?
No, I still have them right here because I'm scared that if I set mine up and go out to the range with it, Q's going to try and take his.
Oh.
So I've been keeping them in the box so that I don't use them, but I have them right here. Actually on the vlog or the vlog. It's a vlog dummy. I showcased this carbon fiber key bar, and that's coming. I will be putting those videos out, I think, 3 days a week. I can't do 5 days, but this is the copper one. This dude, if I had to do it all over again, I would have convinced Q to take the carbon fiber one, even though this copper one.
Got a copper one. Hold on. He's got a copper one that's got like really cool grooves in it and stuff now.
So why
Dude, that's nice, man.
That's mine now. You're holding mine. The one in your left hand is mine.
I'm giving it back to you, Kevin. I don't. What I'll do is I'll pay it forward. Eric, you want a carbon fiber one?
I'd love a carbon fiber one.
They are cool. Go check out his Facebook page. He had a really cool assembly video, time-lapsed, where he had all the shit laid out, and he put together a beefy one. Shout out Tough Products. We'll be talking more about these pens soon. But the other thing that I wanted to announce, who else? Keybar. Grizzly Targets. Once again, if you need some steel targets, go check out grizzlytargets.com. And once again, we got some stuff coming up very soon with the guys from Lanzang Tactical. If you're looking for a badass long-range rifle, go check them out. And the CAS 22 hits very soon. Very soon. It's within the next... If Q was here, he'd tell us exactly the date, but it's soon. Very soon. Make sure you go check out everydaycarrylife.com because now it's official. Pop packs are in stock. It doesn't say out of stock anymore. It doesn't say pre-order anymore. You can buy them. Again, targeting system, have more fun at the range, that kind of stuff. It's the next level training targets and targets. The other stuff that they're making is coming very soon as well, but the pop packs are now available. And what else? I don't know what I wrote here. Hold on.
For those of you that don't know, go check out the Big3East.com's new remastered website. It was launched over the NRA annual meetings. Kevin, I'm still trying to get you involved in giving us some content to put on the website. Eric, you too. Let's make it happen. Videos, written articles. I need content to put on the website. I want to kill the internet with Big3East.com content. So go and check that out, guys, and leave a comment on some of the videos. Leave a comment on some of the articles. We're bringing in new content creators all the time, and if my sick ass can ever get healthy, maybe I'll start adding some content there as well.
I'll do a little L2D something or other for you. I believe in their stuff. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and
I've got some Midwest toys I can and some Kinetic Design Group stuff I can put up there.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I need to do an update on the Midwest Industry stuff because I just put one of the AK muzzle brakes on the Raz 47 and on one of the other ones, like the Draco or something like that. And they're great, and they're mounts. And
their AR brakes, by the way, are top notch as well. Those things are sweet.
All right, let's do big announcement. It's 10 o'clock. Let's make it happen. We decided all these. Again, we just brainstorm and come up with shit and then make it happen. So this one is something we're going to call the Brody Box. Brody is one of our favorite fans out there. I don't even like to say fans. He's one of our favorite friends, family members. Love the dude. He's awesome. He's inspirational to us. And so we decided to name this effort after him because I asked his mom for his address a while back, and I've been putting some stuff together, and I said, you know what? I want to make this even more awesome. I put a bunch of swag in here from a couple of the trips that we've been on, everything from IWI and Tavor patches to Red Army Standard stickers to who we got here? We got the Canik stickers, the new ones. We got the 30-year Glock anniversary patch. These are not stickers; these are patches. Armalite, Nate Squared, Team Tough. We've got all kinds of cool stuff, and I said, you know what? Let's do this. And then Schwell had a great idea. I also got the AB Arms bottle opener for him in there because it's been in my closet for like ever, and I've never used it to open a bottle. And I was like, you know what? That's really cool, but I bet you he would appreciate it more than I do. So it's in the box.
Seven, he's like 7. What the hell is he going to do with a bottle opener?
It's badass.
Well, what is he going to do with a bottle opener?
He's going to say, I know the guys that went to the After Dark party at SHOT Show 2015. That's what I know those guys, and they're my friends. But we're going to put stuff in here and send it out to Brody to show our appreciation to the guys that help us and watch the show. And then after that, we're going to do another one. We're going to still call it the Brody Box, but we're going to find somebody else out there, maybe a veteran friend, somebody that needs to pick me up and help them by sharing some of the stuff that we get to pick up along the way. I hope to make it cool. I hope to be able to, you know, now that we have it in our heads, you know, look out, you know, next big event, because you know we're going to be like, getting some for the Brody Box. And then all we have to say to anybody is, we have a Brody Box, and this is what it's for. And I would hope that some of the companies that watch us, support us, have been along the way, would reach out to me via email and text and say, hey, I've got something for your Brody Box. We'll be very happy to talk about it on Gun News Weekly at the end of the show, because this is something you're going to see. And maybe we'll get Vans as a sponsor. I don't know. That just looks good. So, you got something for the Brody Box, right?
How often did you say you were going to give those out?
I don't know. Maybe like every 60 days or 90 days or something. You know, make it something that it's pretty damn impactful. Was what I was thinking.
Makes sense to me. That's going to be a big package.
Think of the one after January.
Right.
And the one, you know what I mean? 4 times a year, we can make something happen. Get your pop packs at everydaycarrylife.com. Guys, real quick, where can everyone find you on social media? Schwell, go first.
You search Schwell11 on Google, and everything that I've ever done under that moniker will pop up. Instagram, Tumblr, I almost said Grindr, but Grindr, Facebook. I'm on YouTube. For those of you that don't know, I actually have a channel, it's Schwell11. I've started a new vlog, and it's not very gun specific. It's more Schwell specific, but there will be gun content coming once I can actually get out to the range again. But yeah, Schwell11, guys. Usually that's the easiest way to find me. Or Ansel Robinson. That's my government name.
We're glad you're back. We're glad you're feeling better, or at least enough to get in the chair and do it with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for all the support, guys.
Right on. Eric, thegearlocker.net. Where can they find you otherwise?
Find us on YouTube and the web at thegearlocker.net. Instagram is TGLEric. Twitter is thegearlocker1. We keep that up to date. Mostly Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are the places you can find us. Even on Pinterest, believe it or not, we're floating around there too. So
I'm on LinkedIn, son. What's up, Ross? Anything for you to shout out?
No, not really. You can't find me. I'm hidden. But do check out Gun News Weekly on the web at gunnewsweekly.blogspot.com. Facebook and YouTube, just look it up, Gun News Weekly.
Yep. You can actually go just gunnewsweekly.com and it takes you right to that blog. There's going to be a lot more participation amongst these guys and some other people that are involved. Shout out to Lanzang Tactical. Make sure you go check them out on Instagram. Also, Death Valley. Check him out on Instagram. Q should be back soon. We've shouted out everybody. Kevin the Tag Daddy on YouTube. Please go check it out. Support the new videos that are coming. The Team Up stuff with Gun News Weekly and Funker Tactical is right around the corner. We appreciate everybody tuning in every Thursday night. Until then, until next week. Peace. Next week, Kevin Barry, Military Minds. That's the one. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. Later.